Why the tactics don't work for you. I get these comments all the time, and I want to say things that you don't like, but I really want you to improve. This is from Blon Schwarzkopf, and he goes 4-0-4 after 23 minutes. Thanks for nothing, bro. And you know what the truth is? That player is going to lose no matter what because they're not good at the game. If you're losing 0-4 and you don't even know how the tactic works, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter if I give you the best tactic, tailor-made. I've done this in coaching. I've given people who actually don't understand the game a tailor-made tactic for them, going over all the nuances, and they still lose. The only reason why, there's one of two things why tactics don't work. Either you don't understand the tactics, which is what most people don't understand, or you're not good enough. And I'm saying this because no other creator will say it. I'm not here to win a popularity contest. I don't care if you like me. It's not my job. My job is to educate. I'm not here begging, oh yeah, bro, like my video. I don't care if you don't like it. The point is, you need to know the truth, and you got to know facts, and you know I'm going to tell you straight. So these are the two biggest problems. And I think, although I'm uploading this on my second YouTube channel, this only directed at people if I send this to you. Now, when I go through tactics, I explain everything. There's a reason why I explain everything. The reason why is I can just give you the code. That's why I made the website. But the idea is I tell you how to change things. I say, if you struggle with 95 depth, now I can play with 95 depth. But you know why? Because I'm a top tier elite player. If I give this to someone in Division 4, or if you're on the cusp of Division 2 and you use the same tactic, you may struggle with it. This is facts. If I give a professional player any tactic, a bronze team, they're still going to beat you. But if you're sitting here and you're watching this and you're commenting something like this, and let's say you're on a cusp of Division 2, stuck on the barrier, for example, you need to understand that looking for tactics is not going to save you. So when I explain something, it's important to make these adjustments. Again, I'm not atting at anyone, but it's important, especially the person who I've directly sent this video to in the comment section. You need to understand how tactics work. You have to understand that the reason why you're where you are is where you are. If you give me any tactic, I can still win with it, but you won't be able to. So there's certain tactics like the 4-2-1-3 and certain tactics that really are very meta that year that will help you out more. Now, I would say most people don't understand tactics. They don't understand how it works. So when I explain, for example, oh, look, if you put, for example, inside forward on both these players, and then they're going to stay forward. And then if you go crying after saying, oh, but my players are not coming back to defend, when I've explained it, this is why I go through and explain the actions and the reasons for every single player role. And I go through a depth and a counter. I always explain why. I think I'm one of the only few creators that explain why do I do this? Why is it done this way? Why have I done this instead of that? And what options you can use instead? Because sometimes I release a tactic, for example, wing back. Now I'll tell you, if you're in Division 7, use wing backs, it might work for you, okay? Because in Division 7, no one knows what they're doing. Even in Division 2, no one knows what they're doing. But if you're a bad player yourself and you're not that good at the game and you're average, for example, or below average for that division, with 2 wing backs, you're going to get countered. That's why I specifically say, if you know you're going to get countered, use something like fullback defend. And I don't want to sound patronizing, but it's important that I say this, no BS, because I think people keep changing tactics every single week. When I release tactics out, I'm expecting you to try it for like a weekend league and a bit more. I expect you to maybe play it for the weekend league, play it for a couple of rival games, see how it kind of goes in, or play rivals first, then weekend league, and then see if you like it. If you like it, good, it goes into your slot. If you don't like it, then you bin it and then you see my other tactics that I have. That is why when I do these tactical layouts, that's why I've been recently, I make a best of tactics of the year, and then I try to incorporate different systems. Why? Because someone who's watching this is in Division 4, might like the 4-1-2-1-2. Someone who's watching this, also a rank 1 player. They like the 4-1-2-1-2 and they could do well with it. But I know if I give that same 4-1-2-1-2 to someone in ranks, like rank 3 player or rank 4, they're going to struggle. So all these things you have to take into account. Now, I think a lot of people, do you know why they're also bad? It's because emotions alter the decisions. Emotions are the biggest destroyer, I would say, of performance. You could be an elite player one week and be a Division 2 player the next week just because of emotions. This is why in the Patreon, in my FC school, we explain to you how to analyze your gameplay. So you know yourself. You know, if you watch my Division 10 to Elite Division series, we just played basic gameplay. But even I got frustrated in Elite Division in games that I shouldn't have lost, but I lost it. And I said my opponent was better than me. And I admitted it because I knew I made silly mistakes. But as soon as I get back into that position, I realize I'll make a dumb mistake. I end up winning. The thing is that I know when I'm making silly mistakes and I know what's the correct way of playing. Most of you guys don't know. And it's hard because if you run out with your CDM and you beat someone, or you run out with your centre backs and you beat someone 3-0, but you do the same against a better player, you will lose. And that's why it's very hard in FC without a direction to actually improve, because you get conflicting information. How I know this? I've been coaching students for thousands of people over 5 years, people from literally pro level to want to be pro, to rank 1 to elite level to division 1 to all the way to division 10, the average player. So I know why people think certain way. You know, they might run out with their centre backs for 3 games in the first weekend league games, but once they're 4-0, they're going to struggle because they can't do that against a better player. But they don't know this. They're saying, why am I winning sometimes and winning other times? So a lot of this misinformation is also being redirected at you. So that's why ultimately gameplay is the most important thing. If you can't win with a tactic, it's gameplay. You go on YouTube, you search any tactic from any player, and if you're good enough, you should be able to win. As long as you look, any good player here, and I promise you, any real top tier elite player can see a tactic, just look at it attacks, how it defends. In fact, they don't even need to do it, they just need to go into a game, but they can roughly figure out, okay, unless you're playing some extreme tactic where it's like, for example, something crazy like this, and then you have, for example, both these players on inside forward roaming, or inside forward attack, whatever you want, where they basically stay forward, some insane formation like this, and let's say, for example, you got no defenders, right? Let's say you're like this you're playing the most aggressive, this probably is the most attacking formation. You got 3 defenders. Don't get me wrong, a professional player who probably will struggle with this, but they're going to know, okay, I need to then hold possession. When I lose the ball, I've got to run back with my center mid all the time. That's something just to note. Something else I wanted to say as well is, a lot of people think I just wake up someday and you know what? I decide, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to make a 5-2-3-1 and I'm just going to make it up on the fly and just do some random stuff. Obviously, no, I don't pluck this out of thin air. What I do is I test tactics out. Now, for most tactics that obviously I know what I'm doing. I'm not some Division 5 player, with all due respect. I'm not just making tactics for the fun of it and saying it works Division 5. Of course, I test everything in the Elite Division and I test it. I have an account in every single division, okay? But I sometimes give some tactics out to people that I trust, because also there's a thing where a lot of people need to understand is some tactics may work for some people and it doesn't work for other people. I'll give you an example, right? This 4-2-1-3, let's say I put everyone on playmaker. Let's say I put everyone on a bit of a defensive situation. Let's say I go with inside forward. Let's say I did half winger. Sorry, let's say on a 4-2-3-1, because I did inside forward, something like this. I made us in the correct position. And I did something like this, and I made it very defensive. And I did, for example, short passing, which is quite rare. You never really see me use short passing. This is a very rare tactic that would work for people in the top tier division who hold the ball a lot, but won't work for someone in Division 5. That's why it's important when it's experimental tactics that we know that it's going to be like short passing. We give this out to a few people so they can test. I got a few people that I trust. They test my tactics out. Over the years, we added people, and some people have gone. Of course, people don't play the game anymore. And they test the tactics out. That way, if I know it's a tactic where, even though I played in every single division, I have to understand my level is high. And if I'm up, and if I give it to like someone in Division 7, it might be a lower level, they're going to struggle. At least someone else can try it and they can understand, okay, this is the weak points, and then I can make my adjustments. So that is the whole shebang. So if tactics don't work for you, it's either you're not good enough, which is probably going to be 99% of the time. That's tied to emotions, you running out with your center backs, making silly mistakes. You can even watch your gameplay back. You don't believe me? Go watch your gameplay. Go watch that game that you lost. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is you don't understand the tactic. You don't understand how it works. You don't understand what certain things do. And you don't understand, for example, if someone was on inside forward roaming, you should know yourself, okay, well, let's say we go back to the 4-2-1-3 here, because that's what we want to really focus on. But let's say we went to the inside forward roaming like this, and you know, for example, inside forward roaming, that players on stay forward, they're not going to come back and defend. But look, this is more aimed at, look, if you're just tuning to my second channel, just ignore this video. This is more aimed at people who I'm sending this video to, okay? Because I said, it's important I be honest, because I'm not here to win a popularity contest. If you don't like me, I couldn't care less. My job is to educate. And at the end of the day, no one's going to tell you this, because they're going to lose viewers. They're going to lose people from liking them to do this. I do consulting for content creators. I told them you stay away from this kind of content. You don't talk about anything controversial. You don't mention anything like this, or you don't talk about things that might make your viewers turn on you. But you know me, I don't care. I'm not here to win a popularity contest. So I'm doing against the advice that I give, but it's for you to get better. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching, guys. And you know what? Take it easy. I know it's a bit in this game. I know it's a bit sometimes stressful. Enjoyed the game. Try to focus on the basics. Focus. You know, I only play the basics. Just focus on the basics. Play it slowly and watch your gameplay back. That's the biggest killer of gameplay. I really hope you improve after that. But if you want to take one thing away from me, just watch your gameplay back. See what you're doing wrong. That's all I'd say. Take it easy. Enjoy your time. Catch you next time.